Hey everybody, welcome back to What the Fuck? A Fool's Quest 1.5. Yeah, this is gonna be our last one for the campaign.
No. Okay.
Little bittersweet situation here. As always, we start off with the DM, the wonderful, the amazing, the incomparable Tony.
Yay!
I'm Tony.
It's true.
We know.
He plays Tony the Lion. And then we have the one and only grumpy goblin played by
Jesse Wicks.
yeah. And then we have Pilsner, the kind of airheaded, the lovable oaf, some would say, played by
Michael.
And then we have the one, the only ass-smelling, teleporting Ren, played by
Nico Rodriguez.
I'm sorry that everyone else had kind of an endearing one, and then yours was kind of like the poopy smeller.
I mean, that's what happens when you teleport.
Yeah. This is well-established lore.
Yeah,
That's canon.
It's natural. Listen, it's natural. And I'm your host, Shamas, and we are going to dive right into these last 4 episodes of like a nice, sweet ending episode, a little bonus, little tidbit at the very end, something that I was personally surprised and excited for, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit.
I hope so.
First and foremost, before we jump into these episodes, what did you guys think about this campaign? We'll start with the players first, and then we'll get to Tony. But like this campaign and kind of how it wrapped up and everything in its entirety. Like, what did you feel about it? What were your I don't know best attributes you thought about it, or things that you really enjoyed being able to play out, and things that you're excited, possibly for the story to go in the future if it does pick up.
Well, I loved it. I had a blast, and I really enjoyed the fact that it got a lot of us that have played before together back together, and just had that old school chemistry right off the bat. So
Yeah.
that was good to play with. It's like we
That was one thing I noticed. The first session was like, usually it takes time to build that chemistry with the characters, but it didn't with you guys. It was great.
Yeah, it's like we hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because honestly, with the exception of like me DMing the first campaign, like Tony wasn't, in a campaign with Mike last time. They were on opposite sides. Dexter wasn't here, so yeah, really it was like a whole new group getting together, which was pretty cool.
Yep, we had a total of 1 session together. Oh, and then the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
No,
Jesse, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I thought it was like really cool to see what Tony had put together and put into play for the story, and some of the like groundwork and canon that he built into the world and the lore, because it kind of changes a little bit of things in what will happen in campaign 2, right? So he took stuff that happened in campaign 1 and built his campaign 1.5 around that, and then added to it, and then I'm going to be adding on to it later. So it's just kind of a fun collaborative storytelling event, I guess. I don't know what else to call it, but I thought it was really cool.
Community storytelling. Jesse, I thought that you did a phenomenal job bringing Pilsner into the story and writing that fine line between trollsy like you were in my opinion, you were the perfect example of like that near trollsy character that a lot of us have played, while still actually contributing to the plot, contributing to the actual storyline, and not actually being troll, not actually ruining anything. What was your favorite favorite aspect of bringing Pilsner? Or I'm sorry, I keep saying
Elmer.
that. Elmer. Listen, it's fine. I remember the show. I watched it. It's fine. I watched the audio.
Watched every episode.
I paused it on my favorite scenes.
It's really boring.
It was like 3 scenes on rewind.
This is why people don't let me do things. Okay. What was your favorite part about bringing Elmer into this group? And what do you think was his most beneficial attribute to the group?
His most beneficial aspect. I don't know what he did to help the group, honestly. Looking back, I don't
chuck stuff at bad guys.
That's what I don't think that's what I did, though. Really, no. My favorite part of playing him, though, was I was just talking to Tony about it the other night. Is the fact that like when it started, he was just supposed to be like a cranky goblin, and then Ren started calling me a charlatan, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I guess I am now, and then just ran. It was great. I was like, I didn't realize that's what I made, but I am.
Yeah, when you're right, you're right. I really did love the evolution of Elmer just becoming the sagely person who had like no business, the most unqualified person to be a sagely figure. Okay,
very charismatic, cranky old goblin.
All right, so season 6. Episode 18. An offer we can't refuse. We're gonna dive right into this. Kind of want to start off. You guys began setting up. I believe you called it the bargain bin. Your warehouse. You're like
The discount warehouse.
Yeah, the discount warehouse.
Remy's discount magic item warehouse and emporium.
Emporium, that's right.
It reminds me of a place that should have those like wacky wailing inflatable men out front.
Wacky wailing inflated.
Yeah, like it just have like several of them like in front of the door entrance, just flapping their arms. Yeah.
Oh my god. And then having what is it? I'm blanking on the name. What was the head that Elmer put above the door?
Oh, the
Umber Hulk.
Umber Hulk, yeah.
Don't you feel like? But then you just have the body of the flailing tube man, and then just Umber Hulk heads just on either side of the door. You're like, whose temple is this? I don't know, but don't look.
I think we left that in the house to booby trap.
On a ceiling fan, but we'll get to that later.
That sounds like a.
Don't jump ahead of the story. All right, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then immediately the aboleth slime.
The aboleth slime.
Which, as I was listening to it, I thought of soup in a cup. But Elmer, what were your? Did you have plans for this? Was there anything behind it?
Plans for no, I don't think so. I planned very little in this. I want to
just
be clear.
That you're like viscous something material. I'm gonna keep it.
Yes, yeah, pretty much.
That's Elmer in a shell.
It could come. That looks like if it would go in a jar and look magically, then yeah.
Magically,
If I can
I can water it down.
And make it swirl a bit.
I believe the exact quote was potions of water breathing.
Yes. Yeah. Big like, yeah, there you go.
The aboleth's transformative music, mucus, as potions of water breathing.
That's right.
So, the aboleth.
So, Tony, when he was working on it, but like, what was running through your brain as soon as I could almost hear it as you were thinking about the Constitution saves he was going to have to make.
Yeah, I was really hoping he'd remember that he only had a temporary immunity to that based on a potion that he had swallowed. Yeah, it was a close one.
Were you surprised at all that after the first check he was like, "No, I'm going to keep going"?
I was a little. I was a little surprised, but not terribly.
Oh man.
I think it's really cool that none of us played a character that could heal, which is almost hard in 5th edition, right? Like almost every character can heal. There's so many characters that can heal. So
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that all of us didn't play one, and then Jesse has this alchemist, but he makes the worst potions. They're not even good.
I'm diluting the good potions, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like it's not even that he takes good ones and then he makes them bad.
Yeah, cutting it with vinegar. I think it's what Tony said.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love Elmer.
We go on to meet the mob boss, right? And then that half-orc mob boss, I'm blanking on his name, but he had the fairy godfather patron.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that was his patron, and actually his name's just the boss. Like he never had a name.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I
I'm
can't
not-
remember.
I'm not good at names. I'm just not.
Smith.
I've got John Smith. There's the
Yeah.
boss. You know the goblin at the tavern there. They never asked his name, but do you want to know it?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's Barkeep.
No, Bartholomew.
Yeah, and the boss, his two goons. Do you remember their names?
Goon 1, Goon 2.
Tom and Tom.
Yeah.
Bob and Tom.
Toms.
Tom and Tom.
Toms.
Oh yeah, the
That's-
Toms.
Yep, I'm not good at names. I own that.
I don't know. That is kind of like those cult video games like Conker's Bad Fur Day, you know, where it's
Yeah.
like you can tell the developer was like, I don't fucking know, guys. Just make it the flower. I don't know, here.
Yeah.
And then you just meet the flower, and you're like, oh, okay. So I think there's a place for it, man. You just when you own it, it makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it fit
So
with the AFQ like style anyway, right? Like,
Yeah.
I felt like it. I felt like it worked for AFQ.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll own it. Yeah, no, they went to make the deal with Remy and got caught by Tom and Tom on the way there, and then went to go see the boss at the tavern. Yeah. Mike.
Love the voice.
The music in the tavern is, or
Yeah.
any of the scenes with the boss is just like dead on. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well,
The voice.
you were hitting that Godfather vibe with the voice, and I was like,
Yeah.
man, I can set this off. So
Yeah.
I just found some like old school noir detective ish.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Gritty city music. It's like, okay, that fits.
And I would like to point out, hats off to Mike for this campaign. We got all of our episodes for season 6 on YouTube without any copyright flags.
Yes.
So,
Hey.
I mean, I would just like to point out for campaign 1, I got about 7 minutes into the first episode
I know.
and then had
We
a
got so many
flag. So,
dings.
like, yeah.
That's amazing.
Anyway,
Before we move on, Mike, I'm sorry, Nick, Mr. Mead asks how awesome was Tony as a DM, which I think pretty phenomenal
wonderful.
in my book.
yeah, super good. Hats off. Like, really, really well done. It was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
well, thanks, guys.
you did a great job, Mike. You did a fantastic job putting the ambiance together and stuff. Tony absolutely killed
Yep.
it. Was seamless transition from Nico's campaign into this one. It was pretty great.
And
Thanks.
hilarious with the notebook.
How many times? I think I've heard at least twice where you're like, I should just go digital. Like,
I've been wrinkling it today. I got paper notes for this.
I mean, he honestly said that every session. It's just there was only a couple
Yeah.
times where I left it in the podcast.
I did enjoy every time that like he would go into a vapor lock and looking for something or trying to think of a word or something like that, and I would just like bring everything else to a screeching halt and then let it play out.
Yeah.
That was great.
For any of you listening at home, if you did not listen past the end where they had the bonus material, there's stuff at the end of these episodes. So if you missed it, go back and listen. They're pretty phenomenal.
Lots of bonus content.
So with that, you guys dive down deeper into the sewers, which is where everyone wants to hang out. Really, I think Elmer's favorite place to be. And we're gonna get into this, but I want to preface it by saying I freaking loved your transition into this, but the demon door, the alkylith.
Yeah.
All right, so Nico, what do you think was going through Ren's mind, and what did you as a player think of this first? We're gonna go through the players first, then we'll get to Tony.
You mean I thought the combat was really cool. I thought the premise was really cool. I think that Ren was a little hesitant after after talking to a fairy godfather.
Yeah.
So that kind of had him jumpy to begin with, and then he went down to do this demon thing, and he kind of, to some degree, felt maybe a little responsible for the demon thing down there because we kind of left it there. I don't think it was our fault that it popped up, but there was demon stuff happening down below already, so we kind of missed it the first time and had to go back and resolve it. So I think he felt a little bit responsible, but definitely was weirded out by once we got there. And the combat was really fun for Ren, but we'll get to that later. So
yeah. Before we move on to other people, I want to touch on this real quick because I kind of skipped over it, and that's my bad. But what did Ren think when running into the patron, the Godfather?
He was surprised. So he had some issues with warlocks, and he kind of alluded to it in the story. He had an issue in that town with people from the school of what school was that? Evocation? That was Conjuration. Yeah, school of Conjuration that was down there. So he had problems in that same town, and then to find out that not only were there warlocks in this town, but there was a fairy godfather who knew my fairy godmother. He was like, oh shit, that's wild. So he was taken aback, but kind of excited by it, I think.
Little clenched booty cheeks, probably.
Oh yeah, terrifying. Yeah, which we'll cover later. Too.
Yeah, it comes up.
That comes up later.
Yeah. So Mike, what do you think was going through Pilsner's mind, and what did you think about the? I do really want to touch on the transition, right? Because you guys walk through that door, and then all of a sudden, you're in basically a slime.
Pilsner ended up in the abyss, and he's like, whoa, and then Tony starts talking more, timetables. Okay, you've got how many more saving throws you're gonna make in here? So I'm like, I gotta get out.
Yep. Yeah, I do want to point out there was. I think Mead asked a question about it, or someone did in a previous WTF. When they had first gone down the sewers and gone in that room, they all had to make saves. And someone had failed it, and it was the saves against the alkylith.
Yeah.
Because it was there then.
Yeah, we all made our save that time.
Yeah, I think one of you failed it, but it was like, it just gives you disadvantage on your next die roll, and it didn't end up coming up. So there were no consequences for it because you guys didn't do anything for a while, basically. But
I was a little hesitant when we went back in there, and it's like as soon as you said there's an open portal, and I'm like, oh fuck, not again. Here we go again.
Not again. Yep.
He said the P word.
How did Jesse? How do you think that Elmer felt about the situation and just being on the sewers in general?
Oh, the sewers were awful. But I think Elmer was probably the least horrified by it because he's had to cope with the idea of being eaten a lot more in his life. They always thought they were safe. I always knew it was an option,
When you're snack sized.
Yeah, see, this is just kind of how I figured it was going to happen,
Right. It's snack privilege. It's just that. Oh, man. So, Tony, where did you get the inspiration of using the alkylith demon?
I don't know. I thought it was kind of a cool monster that sort of binds the dimensions together, and we were sort of following up tearing apart magic. So I was like, let's see what we can work with there. But then I had to have, I don't know. I just think they're neat.
They aren't really neat.
Like a really big potato, you know?
Pre-salad.
Yes.
Awesome. Into the slapstick saloon episode. You guys kind of finished up episode 18 with banishing, right?
Yeah, that was clutch.
Using your left hand instead of the right hand, Ren.
So
Using your last spell slot.
Oh
Yep.
my
That was
God.
so good.
Yeah. It was,
That was
definitely a do or die moment, but that was a lot of fun. I really wanted the Thanos to work. And normally, I tried not to do the same spell over and over again throughout the campaign because I was like, that's kind of boring, try to change it up. But, I mean, I just really, really wanted to Thanos that fucker. And so I switched hands, and it worked.
I liked that fight went a little differently than the previous two as the DM anyway. Like that one, the last couple of fights you guys had, which were building up to this, you just rolled right over them.
Yeah.
Just stomped them, and this one was a lot more of a challenge for you guys. It was a lot closer of a thing.
Yeah.
I do think too, like it did have more of a climactic feel to it, and then there was no rest taken when you guys go into town and everything's quiet, and then you find out that the Inquisition's going around poking their noses places, bullying people, just being shitbirds. And speaking of multiple spells and stuff, you really did show the versatility when you bust out the Iron Man, Ren.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope.
I loved all the comic book segues.
Yeah, the music for it, right, and the sound effects were on point.
Yeah.
We got a lot of wild surges in this one, but you guys just were not having these Inquisitors being sassy. You guys bust in. I know that Ren was trying to be kind of incognito, trying to keep his face buried in the L.
Yeah.
And then Pilsner had a little bit, probably too much, and was feeling a little froggy.
Oh yeah. Well, Pilsner was right there in his element. He loves a good bar fight. And then when these guys rolled in and were just being dickheads, he's like, "Oh no, hey, this ain't happening. Not here."
But to start it all off, Elmer was his own drunken, sloshed hand decide to just what was the inspiration for prestidigitating that Inquisitor?
He would be
To
the dick.
soil himself.
Yeah, but that specifically, you made him shit himself.
He shit his pants.
Yeah.
He shit the Inquisitor's pants.
Yeah, because
What a power
Somebody
move!
shit my pants.
What a power move!
Somebody shit my pants.
Wasn't there talk of trying to make a custom spell?
There was quite a bit of talk of that, unfortunately. That whole fight in that I mean, okay, first off, so I don't know if everyone knows this or if we mentioned it before or not, but Jesse does all the titling. Jesse's come up with all the titles for these episodes.
Oh yeah,
and that one's just spot on. Slapstick Saloon. That was, I mean, that was what happened that episode. And like the way the fight scene played out when I listened to it, it was like watching an episode of that old Batman show. Like I could see the booms and pows and zaps and whoops and.
Well, it probably didn't help that I used a lot of the old cartoon sound effects.
Yeah, the sound effects also helped a lot, but it was like it was a heck of a thing.
He greased the floor, and I'm like, oh, perfect opportunity to have it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
the entire fight, all I could think is, this might be the dumbest fight I've ever been a part of. It's great.
That says a lot coming after the first fight that we had in the same bar with the Lego chairs.
I loved every bit of it. And then we had the wild surges, right? And so we had the shadowy tendrils coming out, and then
Yeah.
redneck hillbilly.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of people know about Squidbilly, but I was really happy that you guys brought that up.
You just turned into Squidbilly. When Pilsner as a Path of the Wild Mage barbarian. Anytime he enters his rage, I roll randomly to see what wild effect it have. There's like 8 different effects, one from each school of magic, and that one just happened to be on that table with the tendrils that erupt. So it worked out pretty good.
You guys did dispatch them and the Magmans. Is that how you say it?
They were a bigger problem than the others.
Yeah.
Well, all that grease, so.
I just remember
Yeah.
Pilsner had a rough time.
Oh my god. Good thing I was raging.
Yeah, the one time, I think this is probably the time that you took the most amount of damage, Elmer. You were so salty about it. Like, you guys ain't doing nothing. I'm over here taking all the beat.
Yeah.
You guys haven't done anything. But like, never mind the rest of the
Well,
campaign.
the last part, he got thrown out the window.
No, the rest of that's what I'm saying. The rest of the campaign, everything went how it was supposed to. It's not, there's no give and take. It's only take.
Oh man, what a great time.
Hey everyone, Nico here. Normally, this is where we would end the episode for you all and give the rest of the episode over to our Patreon listeners. But because this is the WTF for the end of campaign 1.5, we're going to drop the entire WTF in here. So give us just a minute to drop a few commercials, and then we will get back to the second half of our WTF. Bye.
In the next one, you guys had best laid plans. And this is like post barroom brawl, and Elmer's still pretty tipsy. I loved the retelling of the story 5 times to Lefty. And he's the only one in the bar. I just love that whole bit you guys went on, the whole tangent.
I enjoyed Pilsner telling Lefty to send him to the swamp, to Anthronoxus.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, the like tie-ins and the detours to Anthronoxus is just, it's been a great motif this whole campaign.
It's been a great,
especially I think because it's like immediately followed up by Elmer's like reaction to it, which is hell no.
Always, always.
Every single time.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We're not gonna do that. We mentioned the dragon. He's like automatically, nope.
No, I just don't understand what's confusing about it.
Well, it's just hard to understand. I'm not going near the dragon again.
It's not even a conversation I thought would need to be had. Much less repeated. I'm baffled.
This was the episode that you guys wound up breaking in to the warehouse, right? And going along the catwalk and scooting by, and found some puppies, some little singed puppies, right?
Yeah, I love how the 2 sneakiest people failed their
Yes.
stealth checks,
Yep.
and the lumbering barbarian.
Yeah, I slipped in like a fucking ninja, and then these 2 bash through the ceiling and break
those old cartoons where the giant thing is like tiptoeing on just the giant toe, the big toe. Like, ding, 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 ding.
It's okay. This one was primarily a combat episode. So
That was a long fight.
Yeah,
It was a fun fight.
Yeah.
So I guess what were the aspects of it that you guys were kind of worried about? I mean, we had you could hear a skirmish going on outside of your fight, right? Like there are people who were calling towards other people, and people were calling after them. Some kind of confusion going on outside of that, but you guys were busy fighting some hellhounds. Am I missing it? I think the Arms of Hagar was the next one, even not even this one.
It might have been. I think it was the end of this one and into the next one, because I think this fight lasted both.
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty much both episodes were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the Arms of Hadar on the stairs was brilliant because like, it's just a brilliant spell. And then when they broke the stairs, so the Hellhounds were just stuck.
Yeah. It kind of gave Final Fantasy vibes of just like in the combat, and then the environment changes a little bit, and now you have to not only transition to the next scene, but
boss goes phase 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive right into episode 21, Foundations. Yeah, this is I think you guys were still wrapping up with the Hellhounds, because we had the Keymaster Gatekeeper joke thrown in there.
Yeah.
Pretty classy, pretty good. But then we get the introduction of the top hat guy, which, again, if you feel like when I'm listening to this, as soon as he's coming in, I'm imagining it like a close up of him, and then like the artistic style changes, and then all of a sudden, just in big bold, just like top hat guy, and like, yeah. What was his kind of build? What was his deal when you threw him in there, Tony?
I honestly don't remember what his build was. I've got it in that notebook, but it's somewhere else.
You should really try to go digital.
Right.
I really should. No, I thought, magic users need someone who can get up close and personal too. And that's what he was for. Gotcha. I suppose.
Did you make him kind of like a PC, right? I feel like you referenced that in the episode. It was like that would be what a PC would do, or something along those lines.
Something, yeah. I kind of made him like a
Do you
PC,
recall that?
yeah.
Or something like okay. So for you guys playing, what was your kind of take on it when you transitioned into fighting this this top hat guy?
Top hat guy was fun. He was. I loved the theme with the school of conjuration with the top hats and the emblems with the rabbit. That was great. But as far as Pilsner was concerned, he was just trying to take out as many of the conjuration inquisitors as he could and save the people down below and help them out. So he was going to do whatever he could in whatever capacity he could. So he was all over the place.
Oh, he had the wild magic.
Yeah, that came in clutch.
Teleporting, and then one of the coolest freaking moments, like we had Ren doing the finger snap Thanos,
which sounded amazing.
And then
that was awesome.
Yeah, and then you, like, very shortly afterward, Pilsner is running full tilt at this guy, and then just blinks out of there. Pops behind him.
Well, what was
like,
cool is
surprise!
Tony was getting ready to let me have it on the when I was coming at him. He was like, "Okay, well, you're gonna need to make this save through." And I'm like, "Wait," because then I rolled it and saw that it was teleporting. So, and I read that off to him. He was like, "Oh, well, that changes things." That was cool.
Yeah,
it was so fun.
It was terrific.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I loved it. It was me binging the episodes is very much like there was a point where probably about 2.5, 3 of these episodes were just like one continuous transitioning fight. So it was really enjoyable to listen to. But at the end of all this, you guys wound up getting some loot. You got 2 things in particular. A fire rod called the Suppository, which immediately got dibs for Intranexus. Red?
With a big bow.
Old staff of fire.
His birthday gift. How many birthday gifts did you get him by this point?
He filled the chest full.
Yeah.
I remember one spot where Pilsner leaned over to Elmer, and I think it was when we found all the gold. So just put that away before Ren sticks it up again.
Yeah,
gives it to the dragon.
That's the next one. That's the coin purse, right?
Yeah.
It was just like... I love Elmer, do you remember your response to that?
I think I don't remember. I know I took it.
You said, what coin purse? Don't worry about it. Immediately stepped it away.
Yep.
You didn't see anything. Puts it away. Oh
He-
man.
He's so quick thinking on that stuff. It's great.
I loved the reaction from the boss, right? What did you guys think about when he showed up and was like, "Oh, well, you guys were supposed to work
I
with
completely
us, but
forgot
it's
about
fine."
him.
I knew you guys.
We dropped in through the ceiling and just started kicking ass.
We thought he heard.
We get the captives outside, and we're like, "Oh shit, they got a whole bunch of guys. Why didn't we use those? Oh well, too late now."
It's like,
Figured
oh
they'd
yeah,
have
they're
heard
out
us.
there. Yeah.
I loved you guys kept referring to like, were we supposed to signal people? Oh, well, they can hear us. We're not being quiet.
Yeah.
Nobody came in.
So nobody discussed the signal. What does that mean? They're making noises. I don't know.
Oh my god. Yeah, but then right after that, the boss decides to give you guys a mutual kind of deal to
Yeah.
protect and keep tabs on them lockies. Those little warlocks.
Mhm.
Yep.
Keep the Inquisitors out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I really like the boss. I think that the whole vibe was set by basically the accent and then everything you kind of portrayed, the whole persona.
That was
You did a
great.
really good job.
The fairy godfather is possibly the joke I'm proudest of.
Just so good that tie-in.
Oh, and that's not the crawdad jokes.
Oh my god.
I mean, the crawdad jokes are good, but fairy
The setup.
godfather,
Yeah,
and then
the
he's
setup.
actually
Okay.
the godfather.
But then also that immediately followed by the glue, Jesse. It's Elmer's glue.
Yeah.
It sure
Yeah.
is.
That was a.
Oh my
That
god.
was-
So what? Go ahead.
That was just a joke long in the making.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. This is somewhere right here. Give me a quick
It
second.
all came from mayonnaise too, because that's how you
Yeah.
glue.
Yeah.
And snail shells.
Yeah, snail shells and mayonnaise.
Well, I think that
And
all
wild
started,
magic.
I think that when we first got a hold of that alchemy jar, and we're like, why does it make 5 gallons of mayonnaise a day? Who needs 5 gallons a day? He's like, whatever, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna put it in the chest.
Yes.
Okay. This must be a good. Yeah, it must be a
Goblin
good
logic, you can't beat it. So Kevin, from our Discord community, what harm could an old goblin with near unlimited amounts of superglue and a mobile house do?
He is a
He's
force
gonna
to
be
be
the-
reckoned with.
He's
What
going to
harm
be the
couldn't
first
he
real
do?
door-to-door salesman because my door comes to your door.
He's
where it
part
comes
of
And if you don't buy it, he'll glue it.
Just take the door with him.
And glue it
If you
shut
don't
and
open
then
the
sell him
door-
the solvent.
You don't open the door, I glue you in.
Yeah. What a power move! From soiling
though, 'cause
pants to
he
gluing
can only
people.
glue like the bottom half of the door. He can't glue the top part of the door frame.
I'll have one of those reachy arm things that you squeeze.
It's like a long, really long cock gun.
But because
Didn't he get platform shoes at one point?
Yeah, but it's still only making like
Yes.
5 foot.
I'll prestidigitation it up there or something.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Made
because you made that like reach your arm thing though, it would just be like 2 rulers that are like taped together.
with little
Yeah.
tarp hands.
It works.
See how he turns the TV on.
Oh man, oh it's perfect. All right, so we go into the last episode, bittersweet, sadly. Probably one of my favorites, and that is a birthday party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like,
Yes, the last episode there was like just kind of wrap ups and goodbyes, and then the birthday party was the epilogue, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, the other part though was Elmer and Pilsner got to meet Ren's fairy godmother
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
just before that.
The
that was
picnic.
fun. The picnic.
The picnic.
That was a good time.
Well, so before that, you guys were kind of wrapping it up, and you guys were talking about the Golden Girls, and there was a whole bit of screaming. They're fired.
Yeah.
Oh, that should have me rolling.
Yeah, actually, Mead asked a question in the Discord. He said, "Did the Swags have actual names?" Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yep, their names were Granny Rose and Granny Dorothy, and then the third one that they actually knew was a hag was named Granny Blair, but they never asked her name. They just stuffed things in.
Yeah,
her
we just.
Just put it in your mouth. Just put it in your mouth. You guys were planning on giving the house back. I felt like it was time, and then this is where you guys decided to do the pranks, like unhinging one of the hinges from the door so they hang loose.
Okay, I want you to understand that these guys hadn't been drinking, but DMing that episode was like babysitting your friend who got too drunk.
Oh, the freaking head being put on the ceiling fan, and then Mike's just like interpretation of that, just
I mean,
God.
I'd like to blame it on alcohol, but really, no. We were all stone sober.
Yeah.
We're just.
I was just mad we were losing the house, and I wanted to be spiteful and petty.
I wasn't done gluing doors onto it.
It reminds me of Problem Child. We're just all three problem children.
You Home Alone them
Yeah.
In their own home.
in their own home. It's like if Kevin broke into the house while they were on vacation, Home Alone that motherfucker, and then left so that when they got back.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sabotage.
Yep.
Were we supposed to fight them, Tony?
The hags?
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty neutral, so it was. I gave it about a 50-50. I expected you to fight the first one, though not necessarily kill her. And I also expected you to let her talk, though, instead of just put things in her mouth. So
We didn't want to cast
but
some
it
spells
was,
on us.
you know, there was ways to go either way, but I was kind of glad you didn't. It was fun that way.
Yeah.
She was
what
the
about
first-
the dragon? Were we supposed to fight the dragon?
The dragon also was one of those things that's like, I want to. We'll see what you guys do with it.
You can go either way.
I didn't have it said as a fight or as not a fight, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's very little that I'm like, they have to fight this, and it's usually just like I mean, you didn't even fight the rust monster.
Yeah.
No.
I do have to say, from an objective, like, third-party perspective, if anybody is out there and is, like, stressing about being a DM, like, worried about their story being ruined, that approach that Tony took, in my opinion, is probably the best approach to take. We're, like, have encounters ready, but don't have anything hinging on it, right? Because, like, anything could happen. And I do think that if you let it happen the way that Tony DM'd it, it makes for arguably a better story and everyone having such a great time. Because we could tell you guys were having a phenomenal time playing the story out.
We did.
And I really do think that it comes from the style of DMing that Nico and Tony have portrayed in these campaigns.
Well, it lets your players make decisions and have
Yeah.
outcomes
Yeah.
from those decisions versus, I mean, if you're going to homebrew a campaign, the best part of that is being able to adjust the
Yeah.
campaign depending on what your players do. Like, if you're going to play a module, obviously that's a lot
Right.
more, direct path, right? You've got to
Yeah.
follow the module. You can deviate a little bit, but it's not super easy to deviate a module, because what happens if you deviate on
Yeah.
chapter 3 and you've got 16 more chapters to go? Then you're done. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, but if you're gonna homebrew, like that's the benefit of doing a homebrew is that you can tailor it to your players, and their decisions actually have repercussions or
Yeah.
beneficial
That cause and effect.
Like as the DM, I know where I want them to go, but we're gonna get there together. I don't know how it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I will say, Tony had a couple short nights where Tony was like, we played for like 2 hours, and he was like, well, I need to prepare more now because we just skipped a whole bunch of stuff.
That happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. In those cases too, if you guys aren't done playing, if this is just a regular chill game that you're not recording or putting out, those are the times where you can always do some role playing, do some like side shenanigans or whatever, right? Like you can do filler stuff. There are definitely things out there, mini games, drinking contests, stuff like that your players can always get into. To fill the rest of your guys' time playing is you don't necessarily have to be done if you're just playing with your friends. But
Yeah.
I just want to touch base on that because I think that that's something that you guys are emulating phenomenally, and it shows how much fun the group is having because of it. And I just want to point that out.
Well,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna segue into the next part, which is you guys meeting the fairy godmother and having a little chat. Before that, we're gonna hit on some questions from Kevin Bryant. He said, showing more of the impact of what the Fools did to Magic and the turf war now between the different gods was great to see and played out as the backdrop to all this arc. He asks, will this play out more going forward?
As far as the god, like kind of what the gods are fighting over the world of Euphrae.
And the schism between the magic and everything.
Yeah, it'll absolutely be a backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
This is less of a question, but more of a request, and I second it. Please do more of this Warlock Guild and their godparents.
Godparents.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to jump into the encounter, where I think Ren may have possibly once or twice mentioned, just probably in passing, to not make any deals and definitely don't eat any freaking food.
That was great. Because Elmer and I are just sitting there salivating like, fiends. And we're like, why can't we eat it? It looks great. And he's like, don't eat anything.
Well, when she comes out and brings out churches, comes out and brings out some KFC.
I know, it's like Elmer said, she just basically laid out a Cracker Barrel spread.
Right. Yes. He was like, look, you're telling me I can't eat any of this?
That's just wrong. Can't we just have a little bit?
No, they didn't. They didn't listen to me at all. They didn't listen to me about trap checks. They didn't listen to me about eating food. They didn't listen to me about Anthronoxus.
You were slow in saying, hey, let's check for trappers before I kick the door, so...
I don't think...
I like trap check.
Trap stick?
I think sometimes you guys were like, hey, Ren, what's that over there? And when he turned, you guys were like, kick. And he was like, wait, oh.
Distracting me. He hates when we do this.
You were too slow. You should have said it sooner. She's like, oh, you guys.
There's something I probably should have already known as a DM, but was Ren proficient in Thieves' Tools?
I don't remember. Let me look real quick. I don't. No, he wasn't. He was a scholar, so he had like the cartographer kit.
That's right. So I didn't think he was, and like that's why the only traps I put in were more like puzzles, and that was like the Umber Hulkhead and the basilisks there, because you guys didn't really have anyone for it, and that's what I assumed. But then I was like, wait a second, Ren was always checking.
Yeah.
So you guys laid all that out. Elmer, and then Elmer, in very true old man fashion, decides to critique it, give it a 2-star Yelp review, and then undertip somebody who was not asking for money.
There was no other way the character could be played. There's only one right thing. It's not my fault.
He said it could have been hotter.
I will say, I feel like the only time Tony ever forced the story was when Mike was like, I need to go find a woodsmith to cut me a board. And Tony's like, it's closed. And Mike's like, I'm sure there's somebody. And Tony's like, they're closed.
I already had that planned. I already had that planned. It was in my notebook and everything. I was like underlining it, like, they're closed, Mike. Go to bed. Just go to bed.
It's nighty time.
Speaking of, it could have been hotter though. I'm just curious because in the other episode when you guys were at the bar, you had asked for spicy milk. So is that hotter, like temperature wise or spice wise?
Yes.
Either way, the thing being is I'm so old that my mouth barely works. I couldn't feel or taste anything. One of the two has to happen.
Spicy milk.
He said, in Captain Morgan pose, I'll have your spiciest milk. He's like, we just have the swill still. We don't have...
Was that right after he got his boots?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to pull this on.
Say that to my face.
Now that we're face to face.
I really think that was his character development, was him just getting a bit taller.
Yeah.
Gave me all the confidence to conquer the world of marketing.
It's like one of those goals on his character sheet. Get taller.
I will say, I don't think Elmer really did change a whole lot. I mean, he leveled up, but as a character, he was consistent.
He's a pretty steady dude.
It was for Elmer. It was less of a change of character and more of a change of backdrop, right? Like it's like, oh, what if this crazy little goblin is rich now?
Whoa!
Owns his own company.
Whoa!
He could have gotten better than the other alchemist and taken over the business and run off, but he was like, no, I'm not doing that. I just want to go back to my swamp hut and be alone.
I didn't want to go back to the other alchemist shop. He made me feel bad about myself. I didn't like it.
Insecure.
Kept using words I didn't know.
He could have been more accepting of others. He could have been less crotchety, but no.
I do love the Elmer's potions when they weren't good at all. It was that it wasn't his fault. It wasn't the potion's fault. It was your fault that it wasn't effective.
You must have taken the counter agent beforehand on accident.
Did you eat onions before this? Oh, you can't eat onions before this.
It has to build up in your system.
Yeah, onions counteracted. That's a safety measure because onions are so common. So if you have an allergy, you could just get an onion. But
did you wait 30 minutes before swimming? Oh, see, that's your problem.
Yeah, you need multiple doses. You got to let it build up in your system.
Did you drink this in a swamp? Oh yeah, I know we're completely surrounded by swamp.
But you can't. You absolutely
you drink the whole thing.
Consult your physician.
Yeah, you're probably fine. You're probably fine.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
You guys having the water shenanigans? telling Ren to go in a direction and him just bamfing over there, not getting that far, and just spraying the water.
Yeah.
Well, they were having fun with the water shenanigans because of Pilsner. So
Pilsner's
so
new toy.
They finally got a chance to do some surfing. That was great.
His reward from Ren's fairy godmother, and then Elmer got his reward from there eventually too.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got my door-to-door sales machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I love it all.
Do we want to talk about that Pilsner's reward and how long have you been playing that, Tony, and everything else?
I didn't plan that all that long. I actually, I had to talk with these guys about what they wanted for their characters about maybe like halfway through the game. I was like, what's something you definitely want to see happen? And that was something that Pilsner definitely wanted to see happen was to surf.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
He wanted to hit some beach.
Ren's was that he wanted Pilsner and Elmer to meet his fairy godmother.
Awesome.
And then Elmer's was to what, start a Clue Empire?
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
Correct.
Kevin asked, why did Pilsner, Pilsner, why did Pilsner want to go sand surfing?
Oh, in Sharbosi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the joke, is that he didn't realize.
Actually, I knew it was a desert, but I figured that would be kind of funny for Pilsner to think that there was some place called Sharbosi with amazing surf, because he'd heard about the boats that go out there, and there's lots of sand on the beaches, and so he thought that would be pretty cool. He'll figure it out later when he gets there. He's like, "There's no water.
He'll figure it out.
There's no water. What the hell?"
Yeah, he's going to probably wind up being an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
starting like the first
Sand
sand
surfers.
surfing
Yeah.
company. Yeah. Be like
Yep.
his dad, but different. Mead wants to know, are we going to see more of Pilsner and Ren because they didn't get an epilogue?
So the birthday party kind of was intended as everyone's epilogues, and Pilsner was heading off to Sharbosi and riding off into the sunset that way, and Ren was off to start the Warlock
Dragon Cult.
cabal,
Yeah.
and then Elmer's obviously with Bayou Bill,
His birthday.
Yeah.
his business.
Talking about Elmer's B-Day card to the Dragon Cult. Friggin' caught me off guard. I loved it so goddamn much.
I did notice. So Mead asked, "Was there's something about your characters that was never mentioned?" There's something about Elmer that was only mentioned once, and it was the most ridiculous thing. And that's his last name, and it still cracks me up. I'm sorry, it's so stupid. Elmer Fudd.
Jesse, you look like you're ashamed. You should be
It was the
ashamed.
only time that you mentioned that too.
Yeah.
No, it's because it never came up, and then we were getting to that. I was like, wait, everybody has a last name. I don't have a last name. Oh, wait, yes, I do. My name's Elmer. It's fun. It has to be. It can only be that.
Why not?
In game, it's gonna be Fudd's glue, though. It's not even gonna be Elmer's glue. It's gonna be Fudd's glue. Oh man.
He's got Elmer's glue, and he's going to go into the burger business and call it Fuddruckers.
Mead wants to know: will Jesse be returning?
Yep. He's
Yeah.
already recording in season 2 or in campaign 2,
Nice.
season 7. So, yep.
Yeah.
And he plays an entirely different character that isn't a crotchety old man. So he's versatile.
Yeah.
Now it's an
Yep.
ornery old lady.
No, he's charming this time.
Oh boy. Charming.
Elvira Fudd.
I see what you did there.
Oh, I didn't like
Yeah.
those words together.
There was a hint that the Golden Girls may be green hags, which I feel like
Yeah.
it's like a blatant, like if you guys were to walk into a cave with just like a bunch of red signs and neon signs saying "Don't go here, danger." There's a bunch of hags, and you guys were like, "No, the Golden Girls." Like, I feel like that's been the whole scenario since they entered.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever realized. You guys didn't ever realize that, did
Yeah.
you?
Not till the very
Didn't-
end.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that we dropped a
Interesting.
couple hints that that was the inspiration there.
Yeah.
We
So dangerous.
we didn't do great with the communication with the hags or the shop ladies.
That was actually the something that the players missed
Yeah.
in the campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to tell?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was the big
Oh
one.
my god, that's
Go to
right.
that.
It's the Golden Girls.
Yeah. Meet us.
Yep, they never asked the one hag's name,
Right.
and had they, I think then they would have.
Yeah.
No,
I
Put
think-
two and two
because
together.
the one that the first one we caught was Blair, and we were making jokes about Blair Witch with the
So you even
the
didn't even
dummies
get
out
it
in
with
the
the Blair
swamp.
Witch.
We had already been making the Blair Witch jokes, so that's probably where we would have went with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Golden Girls may have taken them further
Yeah.
away from it.
And we never latched on to Rose.
Was there anything else?
So
Yeah.
Yeah, anything about you guys' characters that was never mentioned?
No, I don't think so. I think I put everything out there about
Yeah.
Rengaw, Truk.
yeah. Did you ever mention that, or did anyone ever figure out that your character's name is Kurt Wagner backwards?
Oh, Alan
Oh, yeah.
had figured it out like
Yeah.
the first episode
Oh yeah,
of it.
Mr. I Draw for comic books.
Yeah.
Which
Draw
is
stuff
I'm not
for
shaming
Marvel.
anybody, but what a weird name, Mr. I Draw for comic books.
yeah.
Well, it's Alan for short. So.
Oh, yeah. It's his nickname.
Yeah. No, he guessed it right away. He was just like, "Oh yeah, of course you're blue and you teleport around, or purple, or whatever
Yeah.
color I am."
Uh-huh.
We also did talk about it in one of these too, because Nico had to spell it out for me, almost literally. Like, look, idiot! You just move these around and it makes a different name. And I'm like, oh, that's
You just read it
Yeah.
backward.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hold it up to a mirror.
use them. Yeah, use them here, you idiot.
Gosh.
Damn embarrassing.
Why am I crying on this? It's fine. Yeah, loved it. I can't get over enough how well you guys did the epilogue. I loved the way that it was like kind of a mixture. Yeah, it was very reminiscent of the interludes that we were doing for campaign 1. It was phenomenal.
Which those are coming back in campaign 2. Yep, we'll have.
Yeah,
interludes for campaign
I just could not get those.
Ah.
I couldn't figure out a way to get those without a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
like,
tough to
yeah.
do, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, that, and I think that there was more time and depth to campaign 1, and this one was already going to be just an in-betweener. So you had a lot less time, a lot less like world building to
Yeah.
deal with, right?
That's
So
fair.
then you have a lot less to work with as far as what you could get away with, NPCs to, introduce and conversations to have in the background.
Yeah, it's fair.
For those of you listening, because this is going to be on the general public feed, we're talking about our NPC interludes, which we do for our Patreon content. These WTFs are typically on our Patreon content, but the interludes are bonus episodes that we put out every month that has stuff that's happening with NPCs in the background. So, yeah.
A lot of world building, a lot of background stuff, a lot of really, like, I think it helps a lot of the community to be able to exercise their acting muscles.
Voice acting.
Have a lot of people who have never really done any of this stuff who are doing just a phenomenal job taking hold of these characters and bringing life to
It's fun.
the world. It's amazing.
It's so fun.
It's blast.
I'm gonna miss playing Pilsner. He was such a fun little. He's a fun little guy.
Do we have insight, a vision into will there be a 2.5? Is that in talks, or do we not know?
Oh, we still got a lot of 2.0 to go through before we consider something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just-
And I'm not sure where things are going to land with 2.0 quite yet. Like I've got it kind of built out and what's going to happen, like the main storyline, but there's so much that can evolve from it and so many routes and paths that the fools can take, and they're fools. So
Yeah.
I mean, it may come to a thing where campaign 2 kind of ends it, and then maybe we move on to a different type of game, Fools in Space, or like a Final Fantasy Fools.
Oh, that'd be
something we could do, like lots of stuff. So I think it just depends on like if we get to the end of this and I'm like, oh god, I've got this great idea for more campaign, like a third campaign, then yeah, we probably will put in a 2.5 because this break was wonderful for me to be able to like work on other projects. Like I didn't stop working on stuff. I just worked on other things for a little bit and refocused. So like I was able to focus more on Ethereal Embrace 2, which will be coming out soon. So stuff like that, like, yeah, I will need another break. So if there is a campaign 3, there will be a break, to answer your question.
We also have ISFA Archives you were working on, getting that out there.
Yep.
There's the Miscreants for the Patreons. Anyone who's listening to this, we have tons of bonus content for people who are patrons. We give them their own RSS feeds for basically all these shows. You get to binge them. We have different tiers, tons of different shows. Before we get to that whole deal, I guess I want to ask a better question, and that is, if there is an interim campaign like this one, Tony, how down are you for heading that up again? Because you did an amazing job.
Never.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Well, you heard the last episode. We fired him.
You're fired.
Yeah. I got fired.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to.
He's so good at it.
So Nico, do you want to kind of fill them in on anything that I've missed as far as bonus content, Patreons, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've got bonus episodes and stuff like that. I'm not going to reiterate all that, but we do have ad-free listening, which is nice. So all of the commercials and stuff that you hear on our main feed, they don't exist in the Patreon stuff. We also do like polls where our listeners and patrons can like pick stuff that is happening to the Fools. So that's kind of cool too. They can like choose some of the outcomes, and then you get like additional lore. There's also, if you have listened to ISFA Archives, there's a whole side story that's releasing this year with 3 episodes that to kick it off, of just like a bonus story completely only for our patrons. So lots of stuff there. Plus we have merchandising tiers where you get coupons for free merchandise for us. And then depending on how much you want to give on Patreon, we do have an executive producer tier where we recognize our executive producer. Right now it's Nick Mead, and that his name gets called out on all of our shows that we put together. It's in all the notes, and it's just a really great way. And we've got a really good fan base that helps support us and keep our shows afloat. And we are able to actually pay some of our voice actors for a job well done. So I'm very excited about that, and we couldn't do it without our patrons. So
yes, thank you guys
everybody.
very much.
Thank you, Mead. You guys have been phenomenal. I think this is unless you guys have anything else.
Nope, I'm good.
Thank you so much for making this journey from 1.5 so memorable and amazing. I had a freaking phenomenal time listening to you guys. Thank you, everybody, for listening, supporting. Hopefully you go back and dive into other shows you might have missed, or re-listen to things that you might have missed the first time. Thank you for all of your support. We love you all, and we
come back in August, so we're on a little hiatus. I wanted to mention that.
Okay, Nico. When I say listen.
Sorry.
Thank you for being a friend.
Inexcusable.
Oh, now you remember it.
Heading down. Yeah, I came home and studied because I was so ashamed.
I like how it was like, was it Cheers? It's like, no, that's everybody knows your name.
Yeah, it was one of those breaks where we just stopped everything. And
I like that the youngest person remembered it too. The youngest person remembered what Golden Girls was.
He's the oldest at heart.
We can tell. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this hot mess. We love you all, and we will see you in August for Campaign 2.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Until next
Have a beautiful
time.
time.
Bye-bye.